Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Integration of Literacy Strategies by me, Christina Bowen. And this presentation is for the LITE 527 class. So, a little bit about me. My education, I went to Morehead State University and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing. And while I was attending Morehead State, I did some subbing and decided that I wanted to go back to school to get my degree to be a teacher. So I went back to school and I went through the MAT program and was certified middle grades math 5 through 9. And I taught 7th grade math, a little bit of 6th, a little bit of 8th, but mainly 7th for 15 years. Loved every second of it. Then an opportunity kind of fell into my lap for a DPP position, and I had my certification for that, just a regular certification, and so I slid over to a DPP position, and that's where I just finished my first year. Absolutely loved it. It's very different from being in the classroom, but I do love it. WKU, I am finishing my rank 1 in the LITE program this summer. Super excited about that. And while I do plan to continue being in my DPP position, my goal would be using my program certification through my rank 1 in this LITE program to, in about 10 years when I can retire, work in a public library. So that is my ultimate goal in using my rank 1. So what is literacy? Let's get into the presentation. So literacy is often thought of by most people as reading in an English language arts classroom or reading in a library. And that is just what is common to most people, even though we all know literacy far exceeds just reading in those two locations and just reading a novel. We know it extends beyond that. So I come into this presentation looking at literacy and looking at integrating literacy strategies from a math teacher, again, where I was for 15 years, middle schoolers, and being a mom to a special needs kiddo who is developmentally delayed and who does struggle heavily in the literacy area. So bringing in these strategies into the presentation today, I kind of look at that from both ends, both perspectives. So literacy is defined by the National Center for Education Statistics as the ability to use printed and written information to function in society, to achieve one's goals, and to develop one's knowledge and potential. So it doesn't say anything in that definition that literacy is just confined to an ELA classroom or just to a library. It's just the ability to use what is written to achieve goals, understand what's written, be able to move forward, to develop your knowledge, to have a greater understanding based on what you are reading. Whether that be letters, words, numbers, symbols, whatever the case may be. So here are the strategies to help with literacy that I'm going to discuss today. So we have retelling performing the text, general graphic organizers, character blogs, magazine cover, sketch to stretch, KWL charts, and Frere models. So some of these may sound very familiar, some may not. So let's dive into what each of these are and how to use them. So retelling performing the text. This strategy involves students orally or physically retelling a story or a text that they have read. So this strategy specifically helps students comprehend what they have read. So comprehension is a big one. And comprehension is, again, when we're talking about K through 12 schools, whether that be in a classroom, in the library, if there are lessons going on, comprehension, being able to understand what you read. And this could be in an English classroom. This could be a novel. This could be in a science classroom reading a journal article. This could be in a math classroom. It could be anywhere. It's just being able to comprehend what you're reading. And so a teacher, the way that we use this in my school is the example here says that a teacher can also use a STEM approach with this strategy and have students program robots. We did that in my school that I'm at now. So we have a STEM teacher, and the STEM teacher was working with kiddos grades K through 5. And what he did was there was a text, and it depended on the grade level. It was grade level appropriate. And depending on which grade level text that it was, he had the students, we have robots, little robots, and he had the students to read a text, and it was a short text because it was during their time with him in class, and they had to program the robots to get from point A to point B based on the direction they were reading in the text. So the kids were super involved because they were hands-on with the robots. They were referring back to the text to make sure that their directions that they were getting were correct and that they were getting from point A to point B as the teacher had requested. So students were very, very engaged with this. This was physically retelling a story because they were working through the story with the robots. So if anyone has any questions about this or how we worked with this in my school, please feel free to reach out and I can send you all the details on that. But the students did love it. Now, graphic organizers is something that all of us are familiar with. It's the most common thing that is used. There are just a slew of graphic organizers out there. So graphic organizers are a visual canvas for students to organize and construct their ideas. These organizers are beneficial for your gifted and talented students, for your on grade level students, and for your SPED kiddos. So you can take a graphic organizer and you can customize it based on the needs of your students. So this strategy is key in helping students to synthesize and think about what they've read in a text. A really great feature of graphic organizers is there is a plethora of options, and most of the options you find are very customizable to age, ability level or subject. So you could use this with your special needs kiddos and fill in certain pieces of a graphic organizer. You could use it with your gifted and talented kids to go above and beyond. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do with graphic organizers. You can have them go left to right, up and down. You can have them bullet, all kinds of different things. So here is one example of graphic organizer that I have used before in my classroom. And this is the 3-2-1 graphic organizer. The kiddos would list 3 things that they learned, 2 things they found interesting, and 1 question that they had. Again, you can customize this. You can have them put different things in there, but it's the 3, it's the 2, it's the 1. Here is another type of graphic organizer. I have not personally used this one in my classroom, but I have seen it used in other classrooms. This is called a mind map. Again, you can customize this as well. So in the center, you will put maybe a main idea, a topic sentence. You can put whatever you feel like you need to put there, and then the kids, you can branch out and have your bubbles, and you can fill in themes, conflicts, main characters, symbols, and motifs. You can put in there whatever pertains to the assignment that you're having the kiddos complete. If you are working with special needs kiddos, then you can fill in some of these bubbles for them and just have them fill in some of the others. Your GT kiddos, your gifted and talented kiddos, they may have different ideas that are stemming out from the big idea. No, it's customizable. You use it as you wish, but this is called a mind map. This super popular one we've probably all used in our classroom, and this is your Venn diagram. This is a great visual that kids can use whenever they are reading or studying or using whatever it is they're doing in whatever class it is. Again, you could use this in every class, every subject. This is a visual to show things that are different and things that are similar. So you can do a compare, a contrast. So you can take this Venn diagram and do a whole writing assignment with it as well. So this is a great visual, and the kids are familiar with this. Character blogs. I have not used a character blog, but this sounds so fun, and I know the kiddos would love it. So So in a character blog, the students assume the role of a character from their reading, and they write a blog or a journal entry from that character's point of view. So this would have your students to really think about the characters that are in the books. So they really have to think. They have to think. Maybe it's a character that they want to be like. Maybe it's a character that they felt most relatable to. Maybe it's a character they want to know more information about. Whichever character they choose, based on that character, they would write a blog as if they were that character. So your students are stepping outside of themselves and into this character. So this is a fun and engaging strategy that would get your kiddos involved more. So magazine cover. So in this strategy, the students must summarize and represent key ideas visually and with short blurbs to catch the reader's attention. So they would create a magazine cover where they would summarize whatever it is that they were reading, and they had to summarize it in the same way that we are used to looking at magazines. So they want to attract an audience. They want the reader to look at that newspaper or that magazine cover and want to read whatever article is on the inside. So this is forcing students to really summarize, but yet make it a catchy summarization to attract an audience. So kids would be able to get creative with this and have all kinds of fun with a magazine cover. Sketch to stretch. So as Yop and Yop state, by asking students to represent linguistic understandings in a non-linguistic manner, teachers support students in thinking about, making connections to, elaborating on, and interpreting text. So in this strategy, students sketch a picture to represent their understanding of the text. So you could have kiddos to read a chapter, to read a certain scene, and the students must sketch a picture that would represent their own understanding of whatever it is that you're having them read. So kids would be hands-on, they would be creative, they would be thinking about all the details maybe that they read about in order to sketch that scene out on paper. So this is very engaging to kids as well. And I know doing hours in the library for the practicum, whenever I was working with groups of students, we would do some different literacy strategies with those students as well whenever I had them in there working in small groups. And so anything that I could get the kids engaged was always a greater success. So this is one of those things that kids have a good time with. So KWL charts. This is a specific visual organizer to help students form a contextual bridge from pre-reading thoughts to post-reading thoughts. Again, this can be used cross-curricular. It can be used from a teacher giving a lecture, from an educational video being played, from reading from a text. And here's what a KWL chart looks like. Now, a lot of us have probably used these before because it does get your kids into the frame of mind of what do I already know about what I'm getting ready to read. So they're getting themselves prepped for what's to come. What do they want to know? And then when they're finished, what did they learn from the text? So they're thinking about it before, they're thinking about it during, and then they're thinking about it at the end. Again, this is customizable. You could fill in some of these columns a little bit with some guides for your special needs kids. So, and again, this is cross-curricular. Frere models. We've all probably used Frere models before as well. So this is big for vocabulary. So understanding vocabulary, especially content-specific vocabulary, is a key component to achieving literacy. So Frere models offer that support aside from just memorizing that word and what it means. It offers a support and it offers an organization for kids to set up all the things about whatever the vocabulary word is that they are looking at. So here's an example of that. And I have used this in my math classroom, and I've seen this used in science. I've seen it used in social studies and ELA. So the word would go in the center, and then the kids would have to have the definition and characteristics and examples and non-examples. And so this works very well because they spend a few minutes on that word. They write down everything they know about it as they're looking it up. And so it gives a greater understanding, is what I found, of my students to understand what it was that I was asking them to do. So here's my follow-up activity. Please create a 3-2-1 reflection for this presentation. And the 3-2-1 strategy was one that I had previously mentioned in this presentation. So the 3 is write 3 strategies that you learned about. The 2 is explain how 2 strategies can be implemented in a library setting. And the 1 is write 1 question you have about one of these strategies. So I will have a link posted in discussion board for you to click on to create this reflection for this activity. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out, and have a great day.